everyone, and thank you for joining us today for an introduction to new product commercialization. My name is Stephanie Griffin, and I'm the admissions officer for the online EMBA program here at RIT. I see some familiar names on the session today, as well as some new ones. And what we'll do for the session is an introduction of the topic, as well as today's speaker. The topic for today, Managing New Product Commercialization, is one of the courses in the EMBA program, and it's taught by today's guest speaker, Professor Bob Boehner, who you'll see on the camera there. Two quick notes before we get started. First, this session is being recorded, and second, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please type them into the box in the lower left-hand corner, and we'll try to get to them by 12:30. All right, now I will turn it over to Program Director Marty Lawler, who will introduce the session, and Professor Boehner.
Thanks, Stephanie. I'd also like to welcome everybody to the session and just say this is the third in our Spring Luncheon Information Series. We did one, I guess about 2 months ago in data analytics. We followed that up I think in March with a Women in Business panel. And today, of course, we're doing the product commercialization one. We've got one more this spring in May. Professor Ashok Robin will be doing another 30-minute session called Detecting Financial Health. Professor Robin also teaches in our program, teaches one of our finance courses. So today, I'm very pleased that we got Bob to do one of these for us. Bob Boehner has a long history involved with product commercialization. In his 30 years at Xerox, he's enjoyed several different positions. Started out in product planning, product strategy, developing goals, and so forth. He's managed product strategy organizations, and in a role as division president, he had oversight for managing a number of very significant product development initiatives. Bob teaches, as Stephanie said, product commercialization, but Bob is also a very gifted instructor, and as a distinguished lecturer, he also holds the teaching chair here at the Saunders College of Business. So I'm very pleased to introduce Bob, and Bob, I think I'll just pass it over to you, and you can take it away. Thank you.
Thanks to both Marty and Stephanie, and hello all, and thank you for your interest in our online EMBA program, and specifically for joining us for this session on new product commercialization. If I could just comment on the online EMBA program, there are some distinctive things about the Saunders College of Business online EMBA program. First of all, and importantly, it is an executive MBA program, which means that even in an online experience, the people you're going to be interacting with are people who have business experience and business background similar to yours and personal objectives similar to yours. I teach in both the regular MBA program and the executive MBA program, both on campus and online. And the engagements of the students, the engagement with the students in the online executive MBA program is very different from the MBA program, where there's a lot of students who have very limited work experience. So the fact that it's an executive MBA program is, I think, a significant advantage for you. There's a couple of other distinctive things, one of which Marty already mentioned. The instructors that Marty has recruited into this program are the best we have, frankly, in the Saunders College of Business, and instructors that have significant experience at teaching executive education. So Marty mentioned Dr. Robin. He's full professor in the finance organization and has years of experience at instructing in executive programs, and he's just one of what I really think is an outstanding faculty in this program. Another distinctive thing is that we are one of the few MBA programs, executive MBA programs, that has a strong emphasis on technology management and on new product commercialization, both of which are very important topics in contemporary business management. Not very many programs have these courses as a requirements for a degree, and they are a distinctive mark of the Executive MBA program and the online Executive MBA program and the RIT Saunders College of Business. So what I'm going to take you through is a short presentation that is a preview of this course. The course is called New Product Commercialization. And New Product Commercialization is about just that, getting successful new products into the marketplace. The title of the course is not Launching New Products. Lots of new products get launched. It is about commercializing new products. And commercialization has a connotation that these products are going to be economically successful for the company that invested in them. So this is actually a marketing course. It is a course that focuses on how do we create winning products, how do we get those products launched successfully in the marketplace, how do we market these products so that there's a continuing stream of growth and revenue from new products that we develop. As we'll see in some of the data that we'll go through, managing new product development, managing new product commercialization is not one of the strengths of businesses in America, and indeed businesses globally. So what I want to do is just go through a little context about the importance of new product commercialization, a perspective on how well it's being managed or how well it's not being managed, as the case may be, and then we'll finish with a summary of the important topics that we cover in this course. Just by the way, as an aside, I have been teaching in the online Executive MBA program since class 1. I have really enjoyed the heck out of this experience. I really enjoy getting engaged with the students, particularly executive students. And this has been, I think, an outstanding experience for the students in general, the entire program, as well as for me. So I hope at some point we can engage each other and that you'll enroll in the program. So this is me. Now, why is new product innovation, new product commercialization important to modern businesses? The answer is, in a nutshell, because businesses are substantially more competitive and because technology and new product introduction is moving incredibly rapidly. There used to be a time when companies enjoyed at least national monopolies. We saw it, for instance, in the automobile industry, in the telecommunications industry, in the computer industry. Those national monopolies are gone, and there's intense competition globally. Technology changes very frequently and is incumbent on companies to make sure that they are leveraging the latest technology in their products, or they won't be able to sustain a competitive advantage with those products. Customer needs change very rapidly, and customers kind of break into micro segments, and so we need to develop products that satisfy the needs of specific customer segments. If we don't, our competitors will. And as you can see, the data on shorter product life cycle is important. Product life cycles have increased by 4x in the past 50 years, and so many products last less than 3 years in the marketplace. And you can think about how frequently you replace your cell phone and your computer, by the way, to get a perspective on shorter product life cycles. All of this puts pressure on organizations to be successful at commercializing new products. How important are new products? Well, they really have a major influence on the shareholder value and on the overall value of the firm. Fortune magazine, the single strongest predictor of the investment value of the firm is the degree of innovativeness of the firm. And that innovativeness of the firm manifests itself in a steady stream of new products, successful new products, commercialized and launched into the marketplace. And Fortune also says admired companies, admired businesses possess one common quality, and that ingredient is product and service innovation, and all the top companies embrace it passionately. Now, companies have to be good, maybe even great at lots of things. They got to be efficient. They got to engage the markets globally. They have to be brilliant at delivering customer delight. All of those things are incredibly important, but no company wins in the marketplace without winning products. So successful new product development and successful new product commercialization, including the marketing of the product, getting the product right and marketing the product right, are fundamental to the competitive advantage that companies desire to achieve. This is a study from an academic journal. Market valuations are responsive strongly and cleanly. There's a question here, which I will take a look at in just a second. Let me just get done with this slide. Market valuations are responsive strongly and cleanly to the success or failure of new product development efforts. Stock price losses from product development failures are much larger. And the example that I go through with students here is the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. And we can follow the Boeing stock price with every public announcement that Boeing makes about whether or not the 787 is on course to launch or whether it's got another 6-month problem. So there's a direct relationship between the success in new product development and the market value or share price of the organization. Hang on, I have to see what's written here. You were at Xerox, a firm that invented everything, but which didn't do a great job commercializing. Can you speak to that? I absolutely can. For the most part, well, I was in both parts of Xerox. I was in the copier printing part of Xerox for most of my career, but I spent a third of my career on what Xerox referred to as the systems side. And by the way, Xerox was absolutely brilliant on the copying and printing side in terms of developing and launching successful new products. Xerox, for the most part, invented the modern computer business in its labs at Palo Alto Research Center, PARC. And without going into a lot of detail here, that is actually a topic that we address in the course. What happens when a company has extraordinary technology and some really, really good products, and those products fail in the marketplace? Xerox made some fundamentally wrong assumptions about the market for its products. It didn't listen to the customer. Customers were providing substantial positive feedback back to Xerox in terms of how it should position its computer products. It was called STAR back then, for those of you who are historians of the PC and computing business. And to be blunt, Xerox was arrogant, I think primarily because PARC was so talented, and said, no, we know best and we know how we want to position and market the product. And Xerox was wrong. The other thing Xerox did, by the way, is it didn't protect the intellectual property. So if you've read Steve Jobs' biography, he went on a tour of PARC, was amazed with what he saw, walked out of PARC and walked down the street to Apple and said, we're going to do that. He did it with the Mac, which basically includes a lot of the ideas, particularly the user interface ideas that Steve Jobs saw at PARC. Xerox did not protect an intellectual property very well. So anyway, hopefully that addresses your question. So I'm going to quote you some data from studies done by the American Productivity and Quality Center and the Product Development Management Association. This is 203 new product launches, 2/3 of them in the business-to-business space. So these are not all consumer products. The major messages from this study that was done in the mid-2000s are very consistent with prior studies from the 1980s and 1990s. So when products win, when new products are successful, companies are successful. So in the study, products launched in the last 5 years were 32% of company sales, 22% of profits, and the data was not substantially different for mature industries versus high-tech industries. The best performing companies, the top 20% of companies studied, got 49% of their sales from new products versus 25% for the rest, 51% versus 22% for the rest. Now, what makes the difference isn't money, isn't investment. It is the way the new product commercialization process is managed. Okay, throwing more money at the problem doesn't increase the odds that the company is going to be successful in new product commercialization. The company needs to spend enough money, but spending more than enough doesn't make a huge difference. The way this new product commercialization effort is managed is what makes the difference. Now, this is extraordinary information, and let me show you the data and then make a comment about the data. About 35% of products launched into the business-to-business space fail as judged by the people responsible for managing these products. So the respondents to the surveys were people who were responsible for developing and commercializing the products. So 1/3 of the products launched into the business-to-business space failed. This number hasn't changed since studies completed in the 1980s. And it's important to understand that, because while the emphasis on total quality management, on Six Sigma, on Lean Six Sigma has helped companies immensely, it has not substantially changed the success rate of investment in new products. The same executives, only 56% of new products meet the profit goals. 51%, half of new products don't launch on time. 46% of the investment in new products commercialization in the US is spent on products that never launch or products that fail after launch. Now, that number shouldn't be 0% or 5% or maybe even 10%, because you do want companies to take some risk. But to have close to 50% of the money spent by US companies on R&D invested in products that either never launch or fail after launch is an extraordinary figure. But the 30% of companies that perform best have an 80% success rate, not a 50% success rate, but an 80% success rate. Now, one of the big issues here is what you understand as opportunity cost. It cost General Motors as much to create the Pontiac Aztek, which is acknowledged to be one of the worst products ever developed. It cost as much to develop that Pontiac Aztek as it cost companies to develop products that actually are good and actually succeed. And the money that's lost isn't just what the money that's, the hundreds of millions of dollars that's invested to produce the Pontiac Aztek. It's the money that you didn't earn in the marketplace from selling Azteks and satisfying customers and creating repeat customers. The opportunity cost of failing to manage new product commercialization successfully are extraordinary. Okay, so this is just more detailed data on new product objectives and companies that achieve or don't achieve success in new product objectives. And what's interesting to me are the middle column and the far right column. The top 20% of businesses have over 70% success rate in meeting profit objectives, sales objectives, and market share objectives. Look at the worst 20% of businesses, okay, in the high 20s. Again, the difference is the way the new product development and new product commercialization effort is managed. And that is the focus of this course. How do we come up with the idea for winning products? How do we develop winning products, and during the product development process, make sure that they will win in the marketplace? How do we launch the products and support the products in a way to assure that we achieve profit and revenue and market share objectives? There's significant problems, as you probably have guessed from my comments so far, in the day-to-day management of product development. 27% of business have no metrics to measure how well they're doing, how well they're managing new product development. Only 10% of executives rate their businesses very good in achieving time to market goals in new product commercialization. 75% of objectives are disappointed in the financial return from new product investments. 78% have not been successful in using new products to enter new markets. This is a pretty remarkable and frankly rather sorry report card that speaks to the management opportunity associated with the better management of the new product commercialization process. Okay, what do winning companies do? What works? It is the management of all the value chain elements associated with getting winning products into the marketplace. So there's 5 best practices that are the focus for the new product commercialization course. Winning companies have a strategy that focuses on technology and focuses on the kinds of products that they want to deliver to the marketplace. So they have a technology and product strategy for the entire business and for each line of business. Winning company invest the right amount of money, resources, and they hire and retain the right skills. So they have the right resources in terms of the level of investment and the skills that are required. This is important because companies like Kodak, for instance, needed to transition their skill set from chemistry and chemical engineering to electronics and software as imaging became a digital application. Kodak did not make that transition from a skills standpoint. So this resources point is an important point. Next, portfolio management. We need to invest in the right projects and the right mix of projects that will assure both near-term profitability and long-term profitability. Yeah, Corning does commercialization exceptionally well. Toyota does commercialization exceptionally well. Apple does commercialization exceptionally well. Samsung is extraordinary at commercialization across a wide variety of product categories. Let me think off the top of my head. General Motors and Ford are getting much better at new product commercialization, and the success that both Ford and GM have had recently is really a function of some fairly outstanding products that they are introducing. Okay. So strategy, resources, portfolio management, product development process, a structured, documented product development process, and then disciplined execution of the process steps in the product development process. And finally, senior management involvement, the right level of senior management involvement, creating the right climate for innovation, and executing important activities such as training people in how cross-functional teams should work to be successful in doing a new product commercialization. So these 5 topics, strategy, resources, portfolio management, the new product development process, and management involvement, are the focus. This represents an outline of the course. And as I mentioned to you, and I really think this is important, there aren't very many MBA programs that talk about this stuff. I think this stuff is essential to sustainable competitive advantage. If we don't have winning products and services and a steady stream of winning new products and services, we're not going to be successful. So anyway, time for questions and answers. It absolutely holds true for any company. These 5 best practices are function independent of whether it's a high technology business, a fast moving business. For example, we do cases on the video game business. And the product development cycle is 9 months. I mean, if the product isn't on the market and on the shelf in time for the holidays, forget about it. I mean, it's not gonna work. And the product life cycle is a maximum of 18 months. And they follow the kinds of 5 best practices that I just mentioned to you. It takes Boeing 8 to 10 years to get a new airplane launched. They follow the 5 best practices that I described to you. So a company like Amazon will do a lot of experiments and learn how to fail small and fail quickly. And we talk about that as well. And that's a build on the process, which is funding a lot of experiments and finding out which products are going to be successful and which aren't. Google does that too. The jury is still out for sure on Google Glass, for instance. But yeah, it applies to software companies, hardware companies, services companies, high-tech companies, low-tech companies. These 5 best practices work. By the way, I do a lot of consulting on these topics. Just finished a consulting job. And my consulting customers really resonate with the discussion about these 5 best practices. Okay, anything else?
Great, thanks, Bob. We had another question, which is, what is the single biggest challenge to companies in executing a successful commercialization initiative?
Okay, really, really good question. And the answer, without exception, is much too strong an internal focus. Once the new product idea gets initiated within a company, the development team and the management of the organization becomes very inwardly focused on achieving the objectives of that product and lose sight of what's happening external, lose sight of the market. And so the product development process is intensely managed, and there's a strong process focused. And the company can think that following the steps of the process equals success and get very internally focused on just executing the process and miss what's happening in the market. So without exception, the blinders in terms of just a total internal focus on internal processes is the primary reason.
Great. I think we've got time probably for one more question. It's a two-parter. Somebody asked if this course is offered as part of the Executive MBA program, and I can answer that and say yes. But maybe you can answer the second part, Bob. If so, is the content geared towards B2B, or is it a mix of both B2C and B2B?
It's a mix of both B2B and B2C. The basic processes are not different. So if I laid the process for Activision developing a video game beside the process for General Motors developing a car side by side, you'd see exactly the same process steps, same best practices. The marketing and the way you engage the market, the way you launch it, the putting together the marketing plan, which we talk about, will be very different for a consumer product versus a business-to-business product. So the answer is both.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Bob. I want to thank you for presenting today, not only with your academic, but also with the experience side of the house that you've had with this particular topic and working with commercializing new products. As was mentioned earlier, this is one of the courses that you teach in the online EMBA program. You also teach the executive leadership course as well, which is a course that happens later on in the program. In terms of sessions, we have one final lunch session coming up that Marty mentioned earlier. It's Detecting Financial Health. It will be Thursday, May 7th. It will be same time, so 12 to 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Same format, but a different topic. And in terms of the actual program itself, there are 2 dates coming up. We have 2 starts a year, August and January. And for the August class, there are 2 application dates. The first one is May 1st, and that's to be eligible for the Early Decision Award. And the second is the final application date, which is July 1st. Lastly, if you have any questions, either on the program or on the course that Bob talked about, our contact information is listed here, so feel free to follow up with us if you have any questions. I think that's pretty much it, so I want to thank you again all for participating. Bob, thank you again. And for the guests today, hopefully we will see you at the next session next month.